Today marked the official world premiere of Jurassic World Rebirth down in London. Now reviews are embargoed for a couple of weeks yet. It's not until the 30th of June we'll start to see those. But that big new event has meant some pretty exciting new clips for the film. I've also got a bunch of things I want to take a quick look at from the previous few days. There's been a lot of new stuff, but you might not have seen a lot of it because it's very spread out recently. These clips come from a myriad of sources and they're very quick snippets, but we'll dig into all of it. Let's get started. The first thing that we have though is this brand new shot of Teresa Delgado looking at the Tyrannosaurus Rex just before the events we're assuming of that river rapid sequence we've seen so much of now. First things first, this is probably the cutest behaviour a T-Rex has exhibited since maybe the parent dynamics of the Lost World Jurassic Park. And even then it was trying to kill people anyway. Rolled onto its back, letting out a big yawn, it's a beautifully natural behaviour, the kind of thing we need to keep seeing more of from both our carnivorous and herbivorous dinosaurs, but in particular the carnivores. But even more interesting than the behaviour, which is very cool, is the fact that we've seen this shot before. Given the movement of the camera and the position of Teresa, this really does look to be the exact same shot as the roaring Rex we've seen plenty of times already in the trailer. Now of course the Rex could flip over onto its front very quickly and give us that same shot, but that does seem a little unlikely to me personally. It would have to be a really quick movement. I think what we're seeing here is the moment the Dilophosaurus cries out at Teresa, it wakes up the Rex from its nap, it rolls a little bit onto its back as it's yawning, it gets up, it begins the attack. Potentially even blaming Teresa for waking it up in the first place. But it's either interesting just how much things keep getting tweaked this late in the game, or it's an interesting new Rex behaviour. Either way. Our second of the newer clips is another very brief one, but it's our very first in-film look at the Velociraptor. Don't get your hopes up. The clip isn't even 2 seconds long, and the raptor is off screen for half of the clip. But damn it, they are real if nothing else. I have seen some concerns lately they'd been cut from the film entirely. It's not the case. Here we have Xavier Dobbs standing in the darkness, frozen in fear by the looks of things as behind him a Mutodon absolutely bodies a Velociraptor, tossing it to the side and then leaping over for the kill. Perhaps Xavier was being hunted by that Velociraptor himself. He's frozen, he's not moving, he's terrified, and then the Mutodon comes in and attacks. We've heard for quite a while now this might be the only raptor scene in the film. Basically there to make the Mutodons even more threatening as they attack the group at the gas station. And as we saw with those new clips the other day, and the full TV spot, really worth watching, the music choice is perfect. You can check that out on the channel, but it's a very Mutodon focused scene, not a raptor focused scene. There's not much we can really say about the raptor design itself, it's dark and blurry and it's over very quick. Shut up, no jokes about that one, but you know what? At least they're real, at least they exist. That's something, right? Speaking of the Mutodons, we did get a new clip recently of one screaming at Duncan and Loomis as they head for a lit staircase. And by that I mean there's lights, not that, you know, it's lit fam. Now not only is this a great look at the Mutodon's detail, a Mutodon which I will concede has grown on me more and more with time. I'm really beginning to like these things despite myself. But this is also clearly the very same area where they end up squaring off with the D-Rex, implying that there might be some crossover between the two mutants. Would they work together, become mutant buddies? Or as we saw with the Mutodon and the Raptor, is the D-Rex going to body the Mutodon in return? Are we establishing our chain of dominance for the island? Speaking of those raptors and dinosaurs with limited screen time, we also got our very first glimpse at Triceratops recently, contained as it is in a cryo chamber during that 17 years ago opening sequence of the film. You can just about make out the words here and the shape of the trike itself. Now given Triceratops is my favourite dinosaur, I'm a little worried this will be its only in-film appearance, and honestly I probably at this point wouldn't bet against that. We talked about Diabloceratops lately from that Funko Pop line, that's been sort of semi-confirmed to be appearing in the film in some capacity. I don't think Trike is going to make the cut, but we'll have to wait and see. I suspect Trike maybe was redone in post to represent Diabloceratops actually. Well, we'll see what happens. There's a nice little detail here in this scene as well with the Mutodon in its chamber. Again, these scenes are changing constantly, but you can just make out this little movement in the claw. Despite being kept in this incubation chamber, the Mutodon is sentient, it's alive, it's aware, it's waking up. Perhaps then it's not just the D-Rex that breaks out in 2010, but it's the Mutodons as well. Perhaps even the Mutodon breakout inadvertently causes the breakout of the D-Rex. Next up, a little bit of a weird side thing this, and credit to JenBates69, we're not going to talk about the name, on Twitter for this one, but there is seemingly a new Jeep advert for Jurassic World Rebirth. Now Jeep always collab with Jurassic for some reason. It doesn't contain new footage, but it does contain some pretty cool looks at a bunch of the animals from the film. Now apparently that also includes the Velociraptors, but they weren't able to snag that in time, so we're going to have to wait and keep an eye out for the full advert. But amongst the clips we do have, understandably very low quality ones, we've got a sleeping and then waking Spinosaurus, seemingly, just like the Rex from earlier. We've got some amorous behaviour as well between the Titanosaurs, including getting to see properly their sail actually raising up in response to each other, assumedly part of that mating behaviour. It's like a little sexy dance basically. And there's a couple of nice shots of the Quets as well, feeding on fish, confirming it's a piscivore and probably also a humanivore, which is a new word I've just made up, but I think it's pretty good. Now interestingly, another new clip has given us our best ever look at the InGen facility on Ile Saint-Aubert, the island setting for Rebirth. From the looks of it, this facility is a lot more developed than it ever seems during the trailers. It's got this huge artificial dam creating this artificial lake that feeds into the ocean, and a whole bunch of structures dotted around the area. It's got massive, the Lost World Jurassic Park vibes, to say the least. Now, there isn't enough detail to be definitive about what these facilities are. There doesn't seem to be anything too exciting to pick up on design-wise, but they are novel just for size and variety. Also interesting, of course, we've got this helicopter approaching them, perhaps the very same helicopter we see Krebs looking at further in the trailer, the one with a dead pilot. And I'm very, very curious as to when this is taking place in the storyline. Is this first helicopter here to rescue the gang? Well, I think that's unlikely, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one, the crashed helicopter from the trailer, to me it looks quite old. The corpses are desiccated, it feels like it's, you know, from maybe 17 years ago, for example. Secondly, we did actually see a helicopter during the second trailer for the film, but that sequence took place in the middle of the night. And would we see this helicopter approach the island if it didn't contain our people? Would we see a rescue helicopter fly to the island? No, you tend to see that from the position of the protagonists. So what I'm going to suggest is that this is actually part of that 2010 sequence, the lab sequence. And basically this will be ferrying in one of the scientists or maybe the leader of that group at the start of the film. And that's a way to introduce both them, who we'll maybe spend 5-10 minutes with, and also show off the island and a functional facility from the sky before everything goes to hell. And then maybe a few people will escape from the D-Rex during that lab breakout, but of course the helicopter doesn't make it out anyway. Maybe attacked by Quetzalcoatlus. Finally, we have a brand new render for the D-Rex. Now, we've seen a lot of these. I don't want to go into the design because we've talked about it ad nauseum at this point, but it is worth mentioning, probably the best render we've had so far. We've got tons of new skin detail on the jaw in particular. I'd say this one is the closest now to a mutated, messed up T-Rex, a T-Rex with another creature wrapped around it, which we know was part of the design philosophy. You can really see that underlying Rex, and you've got to assume it's having a terrible time of it. This is not going to be a happy chappy creature. Anyways, I think that's most of the important stuff caught up on. There's been a lot lately, lots of little things popping up all over the place, but hopefully I've collated most of it for you to see here, and I think there's a lot of little interesting tidbits going on. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, throw me a like if you enjoyed the video, stick around for all the Rebirth news leading up to its release, and of course a few theories maybe when the film itself is already out. We'll still have things to talk about for a little while, and I'll see you lovely folks then. Thank you very much for joining me, cheers much love as always, bye bye.
Road.